Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Living and Breathing with Art. I'm Maggie Hart, and today I'd like to bring your attention to the idea of balance. We hear this concept talked about all the time: balancing the good with the bad, balancing work and family, balanced eating, balancing our checkbooks. This idea of balance is really important. We have to balance and juggle so many things just to get through the day. And this balancing act looks different for each one of us. We have to work hard to create balance. For me, my balanced life is a compromise between my own self care routine, which is vital in order for me to stay well and feel my best, and then doing all the things I have to do, and then the things I want to do, like see family and friends and create art. In order to live our best lives, we all have to find a balance, and we have to create it, and we have to make it a priority. But first, we have to know what that looks like for ourselves. So today, I'm inviting you to explore the idea of balance in your life. And of course, we'll do this with a fun art project. When I think of balance, I visualize my hands juggling things. You might have a different visual idea of that word, but for me, it's definitely my hands. Because meditation is a big part of my wellness routine and helps me feel balanced, I visualize my hands in an open position. And I also do yoga. So my hands on my yoga mat helping me stay balanced in certain positions is a strong visual image when I think about balance. And of course, as an artist, holding my paintbrush in my hand is a very strong image for me when I think of balance in my own life. So I'm going to invite you to make a list. Maybe the things that you struggle to balance in your life, the have to list, and also the things that you absolutely need in your life in order to feel happy, the want to list. And the things that you write on your list might be very different, but they probably overlap. Because in order to find balance, we usually have to do both things: the things that are really hard to do and the things that bring us joy. This is the very nature of balance. So I hope this exercise can help you identify what matters most to you in your life. And then, when you have your list, I invite you to create a fun piece of hand art. We're going to be doing doodles and Zentangle patterns, which will help us achieve a state of peaceful mindfulness as we ponder this important idea of balance. So you can either go ahead and pause this video right now and do your list, or you can turn it off, go sit quietly while you contemplate it, and then come back and do the art project, whatever works for you. So I'm going to show you what we'll be doing. Because I said that hands were an important visual image for me, that's what I used. So my hands are in an upright position. I use Zentangle patterns and doodles with a micron pen to make the hands. I then dropped in some watercolor in places that I blocked off with masking tape. And then I stamped the words that I found on my list that meant the most to me in this idea of balance. So what will you need in order to create this? You'll need a piece of paper, either a large piece like this one, if you want to do both hands. If not, a smaller piece and doing just one hand is fine. You'll need a pen and a marker, either the Micron pen or a Sharpie that is waterproof. If you do want to do the watercolor drop in, you will need masking tape to tape your paper down and tape off the sections. You'll need your watercolors. And it's also helpful to have either a piece of cardboard or some sort of board to tape down your paper because you want it to stay flat while you're using your watercolors. Now for the words, I use these little stamps that I have, and they are just little letters and numbers. I've had it for a long time. You can get them anywhere. They're not expensive, but I use them a lot. So they're fun to have if you don't have them. And I also have some ink to stamp with. So that's all you'll need. And I do hope you have fun with this exercise. Um, and I hope that doing your list is something that you find meaningful. So I'm going to share my list with you just to give you an idea what I was thinking about. So the things that I struggle with are my health, my wellness routine, housework to make sure my environment is clean and sterile, drinking enough water, eating well, resting regularly, keeping up with friends and making plans, being involved in things that I love to do, but sometimes I can't because of my limitations due to my lung disease, putting myself first, asking for what I need. And then my list goes on to talk about the things that I need in order to live my best life: paint and create art, meditation, exercise, my yoga practice, spending time with the people I love and who love me, being in nature and seeing the beauty around me, purposefully practicing gratitude for even the smallest of things, doing things that give myself to help other people, laugh hard, speak my truth, and put myself first. So there's my list that I balance all the time in order to live my best life. And so a lot of these words ended up on that piece of art. So have fun making your list and let's get on with the art. Okay. Okay, so we are gonna make this. So I'm gonna start with just a smaller piece of paper. I'm just gonna do one hand, but as I said before, if you wanna do a bigger piece, you can use a bigger piece of paper. I've taped it onto a board because I'm gonna use my watercolors. And I want my paper to stay flat. If you don't wanna do that and you wanna use colored pencils, then you go right ahead and you don't even need to tape it down. So, okay, so I'm gonna bring you down so I can show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to start by tracing my hand. Now you can do it this way, however you'd like. But since I am going with the hand up position, because that's the position that helps me feel present and balanced when I'm doing my meditation. So I'm just going around my fingers, just like we did when we were kids, when we made those turkeys at Thanksgiving time. And it's nothing intricate. If you see a part that you don't like, you can adapt it and erase parts that you don't like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to section this off. And it doesn't matter where you section it, it's just giving you places where you can put in those Zentangle designs. So I've got two sections here, and then I'm going to kind of put another section right here. Okay. And then I'm just going to start. I'm just going to start to add designs. And some of these are from the Zentangle book, and some of them will just be my own doodles. Whatever you want to do is what's important. And I'm doing this with pencil first, which means I'm going to have to go over it with my marker. And since that's going to take some more time, I think I'm going to switch to my marker. This is my Micron pen, waterproof, which I need in order to go over this with watercolor. I don't want it to be spreading all over the place. And I will speed this video up so that you don't have to watch me do every one of these, but I just want you to get the feel of it. Let's see, I'm going to pop down here. I'm going to put some spirals. And you can see how you can just really get lost in this fun little project. Once you get going and really lose yourself in it, you can see how you can just be so present. And then I'm going to start filling in some of the in between spaces. My lines aren't perfect, so don't try for perfection here. That's not the point. The point is to let yourself be creative. I love these micron pens. But you can use any marker, Sharpie, as long as it's waterproof. If you're going to do watercolors, if you're going to go with just leaving it black and white, that's fine. You won't, it doesn't matter if it's waterproof, or if you're going to use colored pencils, you also don't have to worry about it being waterproof. And there are some great tutorials on YouTube about Zentangles. There are Zentangle artists that this is this is all they do, and they know the patterns and they know all the really cool little designs. So if you want to explore Zentangles more, you can sit and just find tons of YouTube channels where they do it. And you can learn how to make much more advanced and complicated designs than I do. Okay, there's that center point. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go around my fingers here. Put my nails in. just because I have them, so. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. I think I'm satisfied with my design. And now I'm going to move on to the watercolor part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape and I'm just going to section it off. You can use any size tape. Make as many sections or as few sections as you want. Here. And you want to make sure it's really down good. You don't want your watercolor to bleed through. Okay, so I'm taped down. Now I've got my watercolors over here. I'm just gonna take, it doesn't matter what kind of brush you really have. I'm just gonna take my watercolor brush, dip it in some paper. I mean, bring this over so you can see. And I am just going to color in some sections with my watercolor. You can use as many colors as you want, your favorite colors. You can see once this is dry, the ink pen doesn't smear, which is nice. I might drop in a little extra color here, let that spread for some interest. Yellow, go yellow in this second. That's the pencil. I should have erased that and I didn't. So, word to the wise, erase your pencil marks if you start out with pencil first. And this is not that much of a disaster because I can drop some green in there and brighten that right up. And I think there's a little bit of green I can do here in these little sections that I've blocked off. Cell section. So I've got a few more sections. And this is just regular paper. It's not even watercolor paper. It's just mixed media paper. So you don't have to worry about having any special paper for this. I'll drop in a darker tone here. I'm going to wet this again, and I'm going to drop some blue just to brighten that a little bit. And now it looks like I have this section over here. Do a little another purple. And then I have this section over there. I'm going to do another yellow, yellow gold. Drop some blue in. Okay. And then I get this section right here, which is drop some. Okay. So now we've got our hand design, and we've got some sections of watercolor, and that needs to dry completely before you take your tape off. So once that's done, we'll take our tape off and we'll see what we have, and we'll be back. Okay. So it's not quite dry, but I'm a little impatient. You can always use a hair dryer. I should have done that and just done it quickly. But I'm going to take it off. I'm going to see what happens. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. We added some really cool, pretty shapes to it. And now I'm going to add some words that are meaningful to me about being balanced in my life. And I'm going to use these little stamps that I got on Amazon. And they were really cheap, and they're just all little alphabet stamps, little letters and numbers. And I've got an archival ink pad. And I'm going to just spell out what it is that I want to stamp. And do it this way. And this is so much fun. I'm going to show you. So I've got my M. I'm just going to stamp it. And put it right here. And I've got the first one down. So I've got the word meditate. And you can either use these stamps and do it this way, or you can write, or you can print out words, do it any way you want. But I like to use the stamps because they're fun. So this is how you make a piece that looks like this. And I hope that you have fun doing it. All right. Thanks.